Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our last sort of Q&A video leading up to the third season for Fear the Walking Dead, as tonight is the Fear the Walking Dead Season 3 double premiere, so can't wait to see both episodes tonight. Going to give our thoughts on some of your guys' final questions leading up to the premiere, as well as a recent article from comicbook.com from an interview with Dave Erickson, the showrunner for Fear, about a major character death coming up this season, confirming a huge character death. And I'll put all the info in the description for you guys. You can go ahead and check this out for yourselves. Comicbook.com, like I said, article. Fear the Walking Dead confirms major character death for Season 3. And it says, keeping the character's identity a secret, Fear the Walking Dead showrunner Dave Erickson discussed the major death, saying he wanted to give them a heroic arc, so a heroic story arc. It says, I think we did that, Erickson said. There's a certain conventional way to go about a character's death. We could have done that. Once people see the episode, they will see what I mean. What we chose to do is follow a route where, having accomplished something, having saved loved ones that are dear, you now get kicked in the gut by the apocalypse and the randomness of the violence. The moment itself should be sudden. It should be jarring. It has a very profound impact on all the characters, or all the other characters, all the members of the family. It's a pivotal moment that drives the rest of the season. That's the goal. Whenever you lose a character, especially one that is or that's important, it needs to resonate with the audience. And you guys can check it out for yourselves and kind of, read over, like I said in the description there. So I want to get my thoughts on that one to start. So it's cool to hear that they're confirming that we're going to see a pretty big character death coming up this season for Fear the Walking Dead. It sounds like one of our kind of main cast crew. So we're looking at probably like the family itself. There's mentioned the family here. So you're looking at like Travis, Madison. We do know that Travis has been cast for Avatar. So we'll see, Madison, and then there's, of course, Alicia and Nicholas, and then there was Ophelia from the first season, and we've had some others added over time, like Strand and, Luciana and some of the other characters that have kind of come in now. So we'll have to see who this one is referring to, but it sounds like it's going to be one of our kind of major characters in the season. Personally, for me, if I had to pick which one I would want to see killed off, probably most, maybe Ophelia. I'm not feeling Ophelia. I just don't care too much for the character, so if they kill her off, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. It wouldn't be that impactful, though, unless they give her a really good story arc prior. But the way it mentions family has me thinking about somebody in the family, like maybe Alicia, or I almost guarantee it wouldn't be Nicholas. Almost guaranteed it would not be Madison. So we'll see. I am interested to see what happens with Travis. But the thing with Travis is that he's such a great character. He's probably my favorite character from Fear, that I wouldn't want to see them kill him off right now. Because really, they don't have that many characters to be killing off, like Nicholas or Travis. I think they can't really afford to, because I don't really see anybody that could kind of fill their shoes, for the audience right now. So you guys can write your comments below and speculate on who you think it's going to be. It looks like they'll have a heroic story arc first, so we can kind of watch for that this season, of a character maybe saving the day, and then maybe afterwards be killed off and all of a sudden. So maybe a death like we've seen in The Walking Dead, like somebody like Axel from Season 3 of the original Walking Dead, or just a character death that kind of came out of nowhere and was sudden. Maybe Tyrese, his death was pretty sudden, like, he comes up and just gets bitten on the arm, and then it's like, oh shit, so something like that sounds like we might see this season. So that's pretty cool to hear, and I'm excited to see who it's going to be and what they're going to do with the characters going forward in the third season. Brian says, hey Trev, The Walking Dead TV show was at one point going to feature Shane as the main character and Rick as the one who was killed. Other than this, what event in either the TV show or comic do you think would make for an interesting alternative outcome? And I have heard originally that in the comic book series, Kirkman was playing with the idea of having Shane kind of be the Rick for the series, But I think he made the right choice, which is to go with kind of the good guy as the one who wins. For the sake of it being kind of a good story and an inviting story. If you watch Mob City, it's kind of the opposite of that, and it didn't work. The show got canceled after its first season. I think people generally want to follow somebody who is a good guy or a good character, at least for a little while. If they have to transition to becoming, more evil over time, then that can work, like Breaking Bad. But at least at the start, we have to sympathize and feel for the character, I think. Have kind of a regular classic type of good guy protagonist. But other than that, what events in the TV series or comic do you think would have made for another or some other kind of interesting alternative outcome? Well, it would have been cool to see Andrea in the TV series live on longer than the end of season 3. That death was really unnecessary. They really did not need to do that, and I think it just didn't really make sense based on the set of circumstances there. I mean, to have that, because you had the Merle death just before, you had the battle at the prison. You really didn't need to throw that in there as well, too. You really could have had that be, a really good episode and kind of a happy ending if the governor's defeated. And you could have had Rick and the others kill some of the attacking Woodbury members, so you wouldn't have had to kind of had Andrea killed off at that point. So there's lots of other things you could change, but, those are a couple, or that one kind of sticks out to me as something that you could change right away. That would have been interesting to see how that would have played out. Torres says, hey Trev, what would you say is the most ingenious idea in Kirkman's The Walking Dead universe that he has created or that has created? Like, what is the most ingenious thing about Walking Dead? I think it's that it doesn't end after just like an hour and a half like a movie does or something like that. I think that original idea that he had to keep it going long running and have it go over 100 issues or a really long time to get to see what happens to characters in the zombie apocalypse and how they survive. Not just in one night or one weekend, but over the years, I think is the most ingenious idea that he's had for the series, and that whole idea is really what spawned The Walking Dead and what keeps it relevant today, even though the TV series had aired, back in 2010 or whatever when it first started, and now we're getting into 2017 and 2018, and it's really crazy. So absolutely, and the spinoff with Fear, so really cool too. I'd say that's the most ingenious thing that he came up with. I think was the original premise is to keep it going long term and not just see what happens to the characters in the short term, which is why it also translates better to a TV series than it would to a movie. I'm actually glad they did a TV series versus a movie series because it's been even better. You could say the same thing for like Game of Thrones and maybe even for Fear in a way too. Although with Fear, it might have been cool to see them do like a movie series with that because we already have the original Walking Dead. But hey, what can you do? Andy G says, hey Trev, Q&A for you. Why do you think it is that Game of Thrones gets a lot of praise or gets a lot more praise than The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead? He says, I thought The Walking Dead is supposed to be the highest rated cable TV show ever, but to me it seems like everyone has more favoritism towards Game of Thrones. What do you think? So Game of Thrones kind of versus Fear versus The Walking Dead. You're right, the Game of Thrones has probably the most loyal audience out there of almost any show, and it's one of those that almost nobody bashes. Very few people bash Game of Thrones. The Walking Dead is one that nowadays, it didn't used to be. About 3 years ago or so in season 4, almost nobody bashed The Walking Dead. It was really hot. But things run their course 3 or 4 years later, and a lot of people dropping off the show, not as happy with it as they were at one time. It's just, the length of the show. The show is still going. It's an ingenious idea to have it be a long-running show. But at the same time, one of the problems with that is that you do risk people dropping off as part of it because you're going on years and years. You're going to go on like a decade. A lot of those people are not going to be with you for a decade, but your hardcore fans are going to be. Fear the Walking Dead, we'll have to see what is to come from that because we're only getting into our 3rd season now, so we'll have to see kind of where people are at with that. But it probably gets the least praise of any of these because it is a companion show. We'll see when Game of Thrones ends, if they do a spinoff for that, how people respond to the spinoff and if they treat it the same way as Fear. I almost feel like because something's a spinoff or a companion, it almost can never be as successful or as big as the original. It's very hard to do a spin-off or a companion series that surpasses the original. It's pretty rare, I want to say. So the reason why The Walking Dead and Fear don't get as much praise as shows like that, I think they did. The Walking Dead at one time did get a lot of praise. I just don't think it is right now. Game of Thrones is a series where HBO put $100 million into season 6, so they've really put their money where their mouth is, done some extremely crazy stuff for the series, and they're wrapping it up soon. So it's not a long-running show like Fear and The Walking Dead are, where The Walking Dead might go for 10 or 15 seasons. Game of Thrones was set, and they go through it, and then when it ends at that point. In terms of quantity versus quality, they're going more with a quality approach. The Walking Dead is pretty good quality as well too, but in terms of quantity, they're going on many years. They're extending episodes. They're doing 60 in a season. They're adding on Fear, so you have Fear as well too. And you might be dealing with a bit of saturation at that point, where you just get so much. 32 episodes a year of Walking Dead universe. It's a lot, and some people might get kind of burnt out on it, which I think is what's going to happen. But I do hear what you're saying, and Game of Thrones is generally held in a higher regard than The Walking Dead, and that's very true. Maybe it's just based on what the show is, or maybe it's just based on the different types of fan bases they have. You guys can write your comments below and let me know what you think about that one too. We'll do a couple more. Alexander and the Savior says, Trev, Q&A in regards to your all deaths video. Awesome, by the way. Which of those deaths do you think has impacted Rick the most? Please give your thoughts on this. Great work, and keep it up. So I was surprised to see, if you guys missed the video, that Glenn's death was the most emotional death for most viewers, as voted in that video, and I did a follow-up video to that. But which one impacted Rick the most and changed Rick the most? I want to say the death of Lori, I think, did, because after that, he really changed a lot, and afterwards, he was really not hesitant at all about killing anybody. He kind of wasn't before with Thomas and with Dave and Tony in the bar and some of the other stuff he had to do to protect the people that he cared about, but after that, I think that changed him a lot. You could also say that the Shane death as well, too, did, and that was really, important for him as a character to kind of progress and to grow and to change. The Shane death really did affect Rick a lot, I think. Last one will be from Jon Snow Rules, who says, hey, Trev, my question is, when do you think the Whisperer War will be adapted into The Walking Dead? What season? And from what I've looked at, if you follow the 3 to 3.5 volumes per season kind of layout that they've been going with, it should be roughly season 10 when they do the Whisperer War. That is if they don't fill things out too much. Roughly season 10, maybe season 11. I don't think they'll rush it to be season 9, so I'm thinking like season 10 or season 11 we should be seeing the Whisperer War in the original Walking Dead. And it should be wicked cool. So that'll be it for this one. For today, guys, if you have any other questions you want to send me, you can send me any questions for Fear, of course, after tonight. For the original Walking Dead, I'll kind of include them with Fear as well together, because, it's just like, I feel like with Walking Dead, there's no new Walking Dead on right now, so we're going to, it's the same universe anyway, so we can put them together, it's no problem, and do videos together like this one. If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can also share and favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. And of course, I'll see you guys back again tonight. Enjoy the episode, guys, and I'll see you back after for the review for the double premiere of Fear the Walking Dead Season 3. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.